My name's Clayton. I'm an alcoholic. Step 9. Um, Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. When I joined AA, that step seemed unattainable. When I first started, I was the master of my universe. I hadn't wronged others. I hadn't done things to others. Deep down, I knew I had, but that was the kind of stuff I buried. Um, the feelings of the expectations of being who I should be versus who I was, and burying that is what caused me to drink the way I did. Making the amends, this is this is where I'm at in my 12 steps. I've I've had time to make oh I've made one. I would say I've made one. Um Attempt to make another. The day didn't quite play out the way we had planned on. But this is where I'm at in the program. The next 3 steps are I can live them, having not gotten through step 9, having not made all of the amends, that I have. I'm fortunate enough that the majority of my list is rather short. Um, the people who I will be able to make direct amends to is a fairly short list for the major things I've recognized in myself. There are others I will make amends to, but they will be people that, as I come across them, hey, you know, sorry I was the way I was, and saying it with meaning and passion. Uh, the short list I do have that resides in my notebook of my fourth step, they're the ones I harmed that it ate at my soul, and I didn't know how to deal with it. They're the ones that, when I think of who've I hurt in my lifetime, they're the ones that come to mind immediately. There are other people I've been an asshole to, or I've been not the kindest to. Um, I didn't cause, I shouldn't say it, I don't know what I caused. But from my perspective, it wasn't these deep wounds that would potentially need healing. They were superficial, and honestly, that's not for me to know. That's for them to know, and I'll find out when I make these steps as I have opportunities to. A great example being, um, conversations I've had with my brother, what I remember of childhood, and the things I did to him that I think about aren't the things he thinks about when he thinks about what I did to him. In the conversations I've had kind of around this step, I've learned for me, it's important to first listen to their side. What I found is when I do that, if I have hangups in trying to make an amends thus far, I say I've made one amends, but I've had conversations around the ideas more than one. And what I found is that when I hear their perspective, any resistance I have to an amends dissipates, because so far in any of these conversations, what I'm concerned with what I held resentment for, their perspective was on wholly different things. What what was within me had nothing to do with what was within them. And it hearing their perspective has become important to me because other people's perspective is what I missed in my drinking, in in living. Today, before I open my mouth, most of the time, I'm not always great at this. Most of the time, I try to think about the other person's point of view. And then when you make that a practice, when I made that a practice, it really opened up how I see the world. This world is not about me, not the way I used to think it was. I'm not that important. Today, I'm a human on a rock flying through a solar system in a galaxy of a universe. How insignificant am I really? But we have the capabilities of recognizing that. And we have the capabilities of making a choice to be good and decent. And when I'm good and decent, I'm happy. I enjoy living. I don't desire alcohol to make me feel anything. I just exist in the world as it is. And sometimes crappy things happen and sometimes great things happen. And being able to accept any of it as it is powerful. And making up for it when you cause the harm, it helps me live within it. See, I try to be careful with my words, but it's not always easy. I'm not here to tell you to do anything. I'm here to talk about what I do. Life is good. These principles in AA that they talk about, when you can, when I live by them, when I strive for them, plant light came on. I like this lighting though, geez. When I strive for them, I don't hold on to things. I can go to bed at night. I can be restful. I can play a video game and not feel like I'm not achieving when I've already achieved. I didn't used to do dishes often. Today, I do dishes before I allow myself to do much of anything else. My kitchen stays clean, so I don't have to worry about it. One of those small pieces of amends I'll get to make. I do it today because my kids spend half of their time with me. I want them to have a clean home to live with when they're with me. I want my co-parent and their mother to know that they're in a space that isn't unkept, isn't hazardous, isn't a space to be concerned with. I didn't do those kinds of things well when we all lived together. It might not be a verbal amends. It might not be a amends in which I make up for not doing dishes in the past, but a living amends in which a peace of mind can be had that the kids aren't, eating off of filthy plates. They're not playing in piles of garbage, trash, food scraps, whatever it might be. I was not a very clean person personally. And today I am most of the time. Sometimes you got to go to bed and deal with it. That's tomorrow me's problem. Life is good. this program has given me a new way to see the world. The people in the fellowship have given me a new way to see the world. And I will always be grateful for that. For anyone that's ever given me a little bit different perspective to live a little bit differently, a little bit more part of existing. Making amends are easy when you want to exist with the people around you. Thanks for listening.